All right, there it goes. Hey,
Hi.
thanks for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. Taking
Thank
time
you.
out of your day.
I appreciate the messages. I'm excited.
Yeah. So you competed. I think everyone's pretty well aware you competed in the Arnold 2020. And how did the whole thing? So I was supposed to go there on Thursday, like Thursday evening. And
Okay.
I went to my parents' house. And they were like, "Are you sure you're gonna go?" Because the whole Corona thing. And I was like, "Oh yeah, they're fine. Nothing's happening." I get home and then I find out, oh, by the way, pretty much everything but the competitions is canceled. So, how did you find out about it? Did you guys get like early warning or anything like that?
No, no. When I wasn't paying attention because I have a problem with holding water weight with stress. So
Oh, I
I'm like,
gotcha.
oh, I got to block it out and not try to think about it. But I actually do think it did affect me a little bit, actually.
Yeah. How did you find out? Did you just somebody tell you, or like how did you know about it?
Just on the internet, as soon as I wake up in the morning, it's all over the place, and then it's like my whole entire day is getting messages and people
Yeah, yeah.
asking, "You're gonna be canceled." This and I'm like, I don't know, I don't know. I'm just still eating my fish and asparagus and cucumbers and doing my training. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I mean that as an athlete, that's got to be tough because it's like it's another huge thing that you got to now think about, that you don't really need to.
No, I'm
And
training 6 months for this, and like 3 months longer than I usually train because I'm, just coming back from double mastectomy, and I needed like the extra time. And I'm like, I've been training for 6 months for this. I'm getting on a stage. I don't
yeah,
care.
yeah, it's got to be tough. When you landed, did they do like the checks and everything like that, like they were saying they were doing?
Boots on and take a temperature, your vitals, and ask you questions if you've been out of state or internationally, if you have a cough, etc. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a big event for them to, and I say cancel. It wasn't really canceled, but like the expo portion of it, the audience part of it was canceled because, I mean, they bring in so many people, so much money. They had to be really concerned for them to actually make the move on,
Yeah.
doing that, pull the trigger on that.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you like analyze your performance at the Arnold? I mean, let's just go ahead and say what placing did you get there?
Fourth place.
Fourth. And so was that what were you like shooting for? What do you think like happened?
I was shooting for top four. Uh-huh.
Okay, so you got the top four. Do you feel like you could have done like higher than that?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. You said you feel like something kind of messed you up a little bit. Like, what do you think
I think,
it is?
stress does, play a big part in my life and my past.
Hmm.
After losing my parents and breast cancer, and I think I used to hold a lot of water weight, and it would come out on stage. I just sweat a lot on stage when I'm posing, and I got my period, actually like yesterday, and I've been spotting, which
Hmm.
is great, I guess, because it means my hormones are in check because I haven't
Right.
in the past, but that had maybe a contributing factor, like in my, I think I was a little bit harder in the days before, and I think I was holding extra water weight, because I just went on stage. But I'm still, extremely happy with everything. I'm still like on like cloud nine with everything. I've been crying like happy tears. Everyone, just supporting me with all the love and stuff. But these are things that like come into consideration with it, and with like I usually do very well with good fats, and my coach Lena Squarciafico and I are discussing like the next competition, the Puerto Rico Pro, and maybe changing things up and adding more cardio in just to get me, more lean and tight. But I'm kind of excited that like I'm on the healthier side now, as opposed to like the unhealthy side and um, pretending to be healthy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I have an idea of what you mean. Personally, like I'm looking at your routine right now. So what initially like got me was as I was walking by, because I had it on, like the Arnold on, and when you came on, that initial handstand was like was pretty awesome. Like the way, because I mean the rotation of the legs and everything. You came down, then you rotated the legs. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. Were you gonna
That's
say something?
a party trick. I was
Yeah.
doing handstands since like forever. I was born
Hmm.
a gymnast, handstand and hand balancing is kind of my thing. I just love it.
Yeah.
I'm pushing 40. I'll be 40 April 12th. And
Wow. Yeah.
I feel like going upside down and inverting yourself reverses the age process. You're
Yeah.
energized. Everybody should do it.
Yeah, I like when I was younger, I used to be able to do handstands, but I was like 100 pounds lighter. I tried it again at like 260. It doesn't quite work the same way.
Crazy. It really helps. The lighter you are and the stronger you are, oh my God, I like float up. At the
Yeah.
beginning of a prep, it's definitely, you're like, oh, and this prep too, oh my God. If I show the video of me like 12 weeks before, ooh, I was struggling. I was at my friend Amanda Wing's gym, Apex Gymnastics in Long Island in St. James. And I was like, oh, I can't. I was like, Ariel, going through my routine, saying it, but not being able to breathe and do it. And my coach is like, you're going to get stronger. You're going to get leaner. You're going to get lighter. It's going to be easier, you know?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah. I
just
mean,
easier and easier and easier, which is fabulous.
yeah, I mean, I definitely think you could have been one or two placings higher. I mean, when you get to that level of competition, you're really picking at straws. So, there's a lot to look at, and really the differences between one, two, and three and four is so minute.
Yeah.
Um, so you said, and I don't want to trigger you or anything like that, but you said you lost your parents. You went through some health issues. Can you kind of talk about that, like how that affected you and so forth?
Yeah. So 2014, I lost my father to kidney failure. It started with diabetes, and that wasn't hereditary. That was just onset with just bad habits and addiction.
Mm,
And yeah, after that, 2015, my coach Lena had been asking me actually for 15 years to compete, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. My mom got sick in 2001. She had a triple aneurysm and was in a medicine-induced coma for 2.5 months. And I needed to be comfortable. I was comfortable in a job for 15 years, and then when I lost my dad, it was kind of like a super non-compassionate environment coming back to. And at that point, I looked to my now coach Lena and was like, "I'm ready." And
mhm.
she was like, "Let's do this." She you could be traveling internationally, competing, be with people that are that are like-minded, like you, women supporting women athletes, And I won my first pro show. I went to Garden State Championships and I won that. And then I went to Team Universe and I won that. And I kind of did it for my father, and just his legacy of always
Mhm.
being so proud of like having a strong, little girl.
Yeah, yeah. Did you mentioned your mother was in a coma, and I don't know if I heard you correctly. Did she come out of that coma, or like what happened with that?
That was in 2001. Yeah, she came out of that coma 2.5 months later. She had her aorta repaired, and
Mhm.
she'd been, through 12 different surgeries since 2001. I
Wow.
visited every hospital in Long Island and New York and took my time out. I was a caretaker for both my parents for many years, and I moved out for a little while, but then I moved back in with them when my father got sick because my mother was first sick in 2001. I even had to administer her medication and her IV and everything, and she had to learn to how to walk and talk again. And my mom's a badass bitch, so I don't know if I can say that, but
Sure. Go ahead.
but she overcame a lot of things, and she's just like my hero, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when my father got sick, it was like I knew my mom had to be here to take care of my father. Oh,
Hmm.
I think I lost you. Where are you? Hold on one
Did
second.
you? I'm here.
Hold on. I'm coming back. I'm coming
That's all
back.
right. No worries.
Coming back.
Hey, that's one of those things dealing with the internet and all that stuff.
Got it.
I
See?
can still see you. You
Okay.
found me? Okay.
Good to see you.
Yeah, that's so tough to deal with. And it's interesting because once I'm 35, I just turned 35, and then you were saying you're gonna be 40, or
Before,
already
yeah,
you'll be 40.
I started when I was 35. I said I wanted to be in the best shape of my life at 35, and
Yeah.
I made that happen.
Yeah, so when you're then that's awesome, but when you're get to those ages, if your parents are still around, that's when they start getting really sick, and things that you really can't avoid, in most cases.
My
So it's a tough time.
parents were unhealthy, you know. They were smokers, they were drinkers, they would have, super unhealthy eaters, eating chocolate cake in the morning, super sedentary. My sister and I are the complete opposite, so we wanted to change the pattern of our family, and I
Hmm.
think we're helping that happen
Yeah,
because nothing that we don't have any, of this in our family. It's just onset, like
yeah,
you kind of putting it on yourself. So it's our responsibility to like share, our knowledge
right.
with everybody, and our cousins and everything are super motivated and everything. So, it, you don't have to live like in this state of pain and um,
Sure.
move it or lose it, just like I do anything, just get up and move. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's interesting how that works sometimes in like families, because it becomes almost like a hereditary thing where it's like your parents are a certain way. They're like, let's say they're unhealthy, they don't eat healthily, and a lot of times that's how they would feed their children. Their children grow up, eat the same way, and vice versa. It just becomes
Uh-huh.
extended.
I grew up eating like my dad was like a meat and potatoes man, so everything was like red meat and pasta and
Hmm.
heavy stuff. And high school, I was like my heaviest probably. I was a size 7, and now I'm like a size like 0 or double 0. And it wasn't, I just gave up meat. I gave up red meat for 13 years because it was just
Hmm.
too heavy for me. But
Yeah.
like just like what my body knew, it also made me like very tired. I
Hmm.
didn't start picking up weight training until like 2014. My friend Frankie Delgado, he was like, you need to get out of the group exercise room and get into this room of the body
Right.
weight training room. And I was like, I don't know how to do that. I need somebody to show me. So he showed me, got me into it and everything. And that was like my escape. I just started putting my headphones on, my hat on, and going internally. I would work out by myself all the time. And then my mom passed in 2017. I was at the Miami Pro. um, I got third place at the Miami Pro, and she had her stomach actually, was burst. She had an aneurysm. It was a triple
In
aneurysm.
her stomach?
Yeah, she had had a triple aneurysm, so it was in her aorta, her stomach, and her brain. They repaired her aorta twice.
Mm.
They monitored her brain and her stomach for many, many years, but it was eventually the stomach aneurysm that burst. So my sister discovered her while I was, just finished my competition. And something was wrong. My coach Nina gave me the news, and you know, and then after that, I think just the stress of that, I was chronically inflamed. My spine was chronically inflamed. My breast was chronically inflamed. My cervix was chronically inflamed, and I had symptoms in my right breast. I had a lump, I had pain, and I had blood discharge coming from my nipple. For about a year and a half, I didn't tell anybody because they already had went through losing my mom and my dad, and I just didn't want to put the pressure on anybody. And I also didn't have insurance at the time because I gave up my coaching job and was now competing, didn't have insurance, but I wanted to keep it under wraps. And when I discovered that my cyst, years later that I didn't pay attention to turned into breast cancer, I was like, okay. I was like, what am I gonna do? What do I have to do?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I already kind of knew in my mind that I was gonna get a double mastectomy and just one and done it, uh,
Yeah.
because lumpectomy I would have had to have chemo and radiation, and they leave me on tamoxifen for a long time, and I didn't want any of that. And so I'm super, super lucky. My sister's
Hmm.
friend gave me Canaway CBD product oil from the UK, which I'm now an athlete for Canaway. And they're the top 3 in the world, subsidiary of Medical Marijuana Inc. I started taking
Hmm.
that, and 2 months later, my tumor shrank 75%. No
Oh,
chemo.
wow.
Yeah. Hmm. I
So,
did morning, noon, and night. It's my medicine.
So that's interesting that it's like you kind of. So did you feel like you had breast cancer, or did you just, or you were like, well, it's just a lump, it's probably nothing, and kind of.
I don't know. I kind of knew in my mind, and I like said as a kind of joke, not funny joke, but to my cousins, I was like, if it is anything, just take them both. Just take them both off and done.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Well, that's I have a little bit experience with that, and breast cancer is very common, but my mother had the same thing, and her stage wasn't like advanced. It was zero, but she still decided to go ahead and take them because just for the peace of mind. What stage did they find yours in?
I was stage 1, but it's poorly differentiated, meaning fast growing and fast spreading. And
Mm,
I already knew I had symptoms for a long time. That was the urgency of getting it out. I had plans to compete in Australia at the Arnold and the Hawaii Pro. And my doctor, Dr. Mandamelli, was like, no, I'm not comfortable with you being out of
wow.
the country or out of the state.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with you doing Ohio. So I was like, I got invited to this competition. I'm doing this competition. Competition, right? He's like, you're crazy. But
That's
it was great because it motivated me. I'm like, I was on a ketogenic diet and eating everything cancer fighting, everything
mm,
organic. CBD oil made me sleep and eat properly again. I was doing all the things, all the things. I'm still doing all the things, and I feel incredible. Physical therapy, acupuncture, chiropractor, massage. Like I'm just doing
yeah.
it all.
That's incredible. So you feel like all those things like the CBD oil and all the like I don't know if natural is really the right way to call it, but I guess you could say the holistic type of stuff really helped.
Yeah, yeah. I've been practicing yoga, Pilates, bar for almost 20 years now. An instructor for and certified instructor for many, many years. And I think it all has a huge role in how I feel and how I don't feel like I'm 40. I feel like I'm 25.
Sure, sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of that also, like we were talking about, like how you start your prep heavier and then you become leaner and you feel better. I do feel like, while the sport, like with bodybuilding and so forth, for a lot of divisions is to get bigger,
Yeah.
overall, health wise, I think,
Mhm.
being smaller and leaner is better. I mean, really, it's like you don't see too many people like in their 80s that are like over 200 and something pounds. It's just that they aren't there because they don't make it that long. So at some
Mhm.
point you have to downsize. In your case, you look like you've always been fairly lean. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. I've been a gymnast from birth, like came out like that in splits and handstands.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think just I was a little bit heavier in high school because there was, a lot of beer and food involved. And then I just decided that I was like, no, like I have like this talent and this skill that I've, been born with. And I just gotta just push myself a little further. So I did.
Sure.
Mhm.
Sure. So you started doing all the things to help you reduce and shrink your I guess you could say cyst or tumor.
Yeah.
And then at what point did you decide let's go ahead and take them out? Like you didn't want to just continue to try to see if they would shrink more and more?
I didn't even know. I just was like, just get rid of it,
Hmm.
altogether. Wasn't gonna go back in and do like other tests and everything. That's what people ask me and stuff. And I was like, it just, let's let the doctors do what they do.
Yeah.
And in my eyes, I was like, I'm turning 40.
Hmm.
I'm gonna get a boob job. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's kind of different when you're smaller, and if you're a woman, you would understand and sympathize with me that when you lean out, your boobs go, So
Hmm.
I never wanted implants, but if this, makes me feel
Right.
more proportionate, I feel like super proportionate now. I got the breast to match the backside. So I'm like, and they don't move and they feel good. I was able to save my nipples. It's called nipple sparring. I was a
Hmm.
candidate for it. So I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
I got time off. I got 6 months off to heal and
Mhm.
prepare. Just I was just, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
blessing in disguise. Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, of course you know, it's not the best way to get all those things, but at least
Absolutely. But I had the positive outlook, like, oh
right.
well, at least I got this, and I didn't have to get chemo and radiation. Like I feel super humbled and super, grateful for everything that has happened. But I kind of, I knew I was not taking care of myself. I was depressed, closetly. People are asking me if I'm okay, I'm fine, blah, blah, blah. No, I was not. I was super depressed for many, many years. I was chronically inflamed. I wasn't eating correctly. For 5 hours a day of 7 days a week of training, I wasn't eating at all.
Hmm.
I would look at a piece of fish and a piece of chicken and everything and look at it and kind of get
Yeah.
nauseous to it because my appetite was not there. And then not eat and have a cup of coffee and get a headache and throw up. And then I wasn't sleeping also. I was sleeping only like 4 to 5 hours a day and like putting my body all through that stress. It was like cancer was breeding in that environment. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you've had pretty much like everything you could possibly have with regards to like depression and all the symptoms, all the signs.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So at what point, I guess, s- did you feel like everything was starting to get like better for you, like as far as depression and all that is concerned? Because a lot of people are going through that. You know, athletes are not. I mean, we've seen the
Hmm.
rise of depression worldwide. You know, suicides are very common, very serious subject. So,
I know. No, 2018, after my first surgery, I had my first surgery in April and then my second surgery in September. And I kind of had like a little breakdown. And it was hard for me not to be able to work out for 6 months. I've been always been able to, do handstands and back handsprings and work out and be active. And to be told that I can't do that, for a while, I can't lift 10 pounds. It was super difficult for me. And my body went through some changes where I was like seeing cellulite on my stomach and seeing cellulite on my legs. And growing up as a gymnast, always fit. It's like what are these changes in my body? And I couldn't do anything about it. So also the back pain. Also, I have arthritis in my spine. I have herniated discs and pinched nerves. And not being able to do what I normally do, like foam roll or taking up some salt bath or get a massage or lie flat on my back. My back went into complete spasm. And I had to sleep at a 45-degree angle, and I had the drains and the lymphatic drains, which were pushing on the nerve. With every time my sister would squeeze it, it was like
mm,
in my
mm,
spine. So that's been the biggest issue is getting my back back in order. And everyone's like, you're so flexible, you're like a contortionist. I've been able to do that since birth, but it's not always like the best thing.
yeah.
Not my body, like my spine is so flexible that it doesn't know its limits. And I've had to really concentrate on strengthening my core this time around, which I totally have. I do like 10 minutes a day of ab training, to get my abs back in, because that was actually the hardest thing for me. I carried a lot of water weight in my abs and wasn't able to actually bring them out. This time I actually brought them out, but then there was also like my hormones that were in play.
Mhm.
But everything has contributed. I really am. I don't know. I'm just like everything has fallen into place with
Mhm.
where it's supposed to be. Um, it's been difficult getting here, but I had a team, all behind me: chiropractor, acupuncturist, and massage therapist, physical therapist, that all understand that like this is my passion. I'm not going to give it up. Um, and breast cancer and surgery is certainly not going to hold me back. I'm going to get my flexibility back because I've always been flexible. Like I hear people sometimes saying like I'm never going to be able to do a handstand again. How are you able to, put your arms up overhead? Like it took a lot of time. It took a lot of, dedication. There's a lot of tears involved, and just like putting your arms up like that was like a big deal for me. There was a lot of stretching. I would just lie like that. They told you to lie like that. Put pillows behind your elbows. just to let it open and then just let it, eventually take the pillows away and, just
Mm.
dedication. You just have to just do it. Just do it.
So basically, like, if I'm hearing you correctly, just like one day you just decided, you're not gonna have it anymore and just continue to try to progress forward from that point on.
No, I just always knew that.
Okay, I
Like,
got you.
like it
Okay.
wasn't one day. Yeah.
So, so you always had that positive mindset.
What do I have to do? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
even my doctors knew. They're like, so the recovery time is this long, but we kind of have a feeling that you're not going to be that
Hmm.
person. Like
Hmm.
you're
I
going to be
got you.
recovered a lot faster because of your will.
Yeah. So it's interesting because a lot of times it's not like what happens to you, but it's your outlook. And you see the same people run into the similar problems, and somebody crumbles and somebody just fights through it. And often it's like that positive outlook is
Yeah.
such a huge
Mhm.
deal.
Yeah. So I didn't turn to alcohol. I didn't turn to drugs. I turned to training.
Yeah.
And made a difference. And I turn to the outdoors. I connect with my parents, in nature.
Yeah.
Long Island, we have a lot of beaches and parks, and
So
I,
where do you train out of? You said where are you?
I'm at Fit Life in East Islip. That's my home gym.
Hmm.
I train at different other places, but that's my home gym, Fit Life in East Islip. The owner, Johnny Moya, has been incredible in taking over the space
Hmm.
and growing a community back up again because these sites that and Suffolk County is very small. He's doing like a beautiful job with recreating a sense of community and everything, and
Yeah.
everyone loves it. It's beautiful space, beautiful lighting, and my students today after class they gave me a bouquet of flowers and a card, and we all took a picture. I brought my trophy in, and they're just so they've been watching me go through my training and everything and talking about it and my cravings and this and that and how I push through everything, and they're just so pleased and honored. It I've been crying like such happy tears since I've finished, and
Hmm.
I'm just thinking about like everybody who supported me and everybody who's like been on my side, all the wonderful messages I've been getting, all the support I've been getting. It's really, I'm like still, I'm on cloud nine. I'm probably sleepless.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you look like you're tearing up right there a little bit, but hey, I mean, as long as they're tears of joy, that's all that matters. So, and you went through a lot. I mean, you're really truly an example to people that deal with problems and helping them to move forward, move past them, not just focus on their issues, but deal with them. They're there. They're not going to go away if you don't deal with them. But look out for,
Yeah,
you
I'm
know.
taking antidepressants. I started taking antidepressants. I take, which I eventually will, get off of it. But I felt like I didn't want it for so long. I said, I don't need that. I don't need that. But I just, at one point, at some point, you've been through so much, you do need it. You
Right.
need something to kind of trigger yourself back and get you back on the path.
Sure.
And there's no shame in that game.
Yeah.
Therapy helps, and talking to somebody who has just can help you go through everything is it's been everything. It's been a game changer.
Yeah. Well, and you brought something up. I think that's also something that people really should think about because a lot of times people think of the medical side of it as like a negative, like they only want to do something holistic, and there's nothing wrong. Yeah, nothing wrong with using both. Whatever it takes to make you feel better,
Yeah,
whole.
I've been doing holistic. I've been
Hmm.
doing all the things, but
Hmm.
it's so much that your body and your mind can take that you are so depressed that you cannot get out of this funk for like any reason. And you think something's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with you. You've just been through some hell. And
Right.
you need to get back to yourself. You're like forever changed. I'm forever
Right.
changed.
Right.
I become a stronger person, a better person because of it. But I will never be the same again.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think that's understandable, but I mean, trauma definitely affects people. There's no way, even the people that say, "Oh, I'm not affected by this," they are. They might not be showing it. They might be dealing with different ways, but
on their own. Hmm.
Say that again. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Everyone cries on their own.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's not always like outwardly physical either. So,
Keep it in.
yeah,
I mean, let it out. You don't have to be that strong. I thought I had
sure,
to be that strong for many, many years, but I I never asked for help, and I've asked for help, from people, friends, family, my loved ones, and it's
sure.
made life so much easier and more connected to everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's what part of why we have close friends and family is so we can have this like cohesive unit, like to help us when we're down and we help others when they're down. It's one hand over the other type of thing. But so to go a little bit on a lighter subject, so you're fourth in the Arnold now. That's a great accomplishment. What are your like plans for further? Yeah, yeah, I saw it.
In the Puerto Rico Pro,
Okay,
uh,
okay. And when is that?
May.
May. Okay,
May. Yeah, I think I have it here. May 15th. Uh-huh.
okay. So, and then do you have plans for like another show, or what are you thinking?
Miami Pro. Yeah, maybe
Okay,
Miami Pro, depending on how that show goes and points
yeah,
wise and everything.
right.
Um, and then hopefully the Olympia. Hmm.
Okay, so if you win a show, you don't have to deal with the points, right?
To the Olympia, yeah. Hmm.
So, okay. So, and hopefully that'll happen. Then you won't have to worry about it.
Puerto Rican, and I feel like I have to represent for my mom and
Okay.
myself and my peeps. And my sister is opening up a yoga retreat center in Rincon, Puerto Rico, so they'll be there.
Awesome.
My coach will be there. My boyfriend will be there. So I gotta.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome. So you've got a whole squad down there. Yeah. You're
Well,
rolling deep. All right. Well, just to kind of close out, I guess our little session here, and I appreciate you being so honest about everything that happened. I'm hoping that people will hear it and kind of if they're dealing with things like that, will get some encouragement from that as well. Do you do you have like do you train or like do you do nutrition, anything like that? How would someone reach you if they wanted to get like your services?
I'm a personal trainer at Fit Life in East Islip, so I do personal training out of there. I also do at-home sessions, so if people are not comfortable in coming in the gym setting at first, I get them comfortable and come to their home, or if their schedule doesn't allow for them to come, anywhere, just convenience wise. I do that. I do choreography for gymnastics,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
yoga, Pilates, and bar classes throughout Long Island. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. I have some stuff which I have to be better at that. And
Hmm.
I do have a website, DerinaWilson.com, which I have to get more involved in.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you letting us know. I'll tag all those on the videos and the podcast, and so people will be able to reach out to you from that as well. And Dorina, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Much, Armin. Nice to meet
Okay. All right, nice to meet you too. You take care. Bye bye.
you. That was fun.